All right, shalom, 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 Israel, Shabbat shalom. Happy new moon. Want to start off first and foremost, giving, of course, all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua. It's all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High God, who the world calls God, and the name is only begotten Son, who the world calls Jesus Christ. We're doing a little late night Flaming Fire Friday. You know, we just not getting to it. We just got done feasting, so Israel got to bear with us, but we're going to go ahead. Nevertheless, we're going to bring out this word. We're going to bring out this truth. And the topic for the night on Flaming Fire Friday is be an example, right? And it's a main thing in this truth to be an example. You got to be an example for the flock. You got to be an example for the people that's around you. Right. You got to not only say about keeping these laws, statutes, commandments, and speak on those things, but actually do those things where people can look upon you and see the light that's shining within you. All right, so bring out that John 13 and 15. We're going to start off with John 13 and 15.
John chapter 13, verse 15. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you.
Right, so Yahushua was an example, right? So he showed us how we should move to our brethren, how we should have compassion on our brethren, how we should love our brethren. You know, he showed us how we should keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. He showed us how we should walk and how we should be merciful. He showed us how we should pray to the Most High, how we should give alms, how we should do all manner of things. Yahushua taught us the way in which we should walk, being the Son of God, the only begotten. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 14.
Verse 16.
Verse 16. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. Neither be that is sent neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him.
Right.
Verse 17. If you know these things, happy are ye if you do them.
Right. So we're not greater than Yahushua. We're gonna have to go through suffering. Right. We're gonna have to go through all type of things coming at us, man. We're going to go through a lot of things coming at us, a lot of spirits. Yahushua, he was tempted. We're going to be tempted, man. Yahushua, he went through hell. We're going to go through hell. You're going to go through hell serving the Most High, man.
That's right.
Sincerely and truth, man. Right? So you got to understand that this is the type of example you're going to lead on your people, is that you're going to go through hell, man. That's part of this example, man. You don't ain't all lollygagging and you going down the aisle throwing flowers everywhere. This is a sincere walk, man. In this walk, you're going to go through a lot of things. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn what to do. You're going to learn what not to do. It's going to be a lot of things you're going to pick up, and it's going to be a lot of things you're going to have to drop serving the Most High, right? So you got to understand, when you learn this way and this truth, you got to be an example when you walk in these things, man, right? You want to live it, all right? Give me that 1 Timothy 4 and 11. 1 Timothy 4 and 11.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. It says, these things commanded and teach.
Right.
It says, let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers.
Right. So you want to be an example of the believers. You want to be an example. Right? Like you use for math and so if they want to teach you how to learn certain things, certain strategies, certain things in mathematics and English, and they give you an example, right? This is the way you should do it, right? So this is what you want to be to your people, right? You want to give them an example of serving the Most High. You want to give them an example of keeping the commandments. You want to give them an example of faith, man.
That's right.
Keep reading.
It says, in a word, in a conversation, in a charity, in a spirit, in a faith, and in purity.
Right. So you want to be speaking pleasant things in your conversations. You want to be speaking of the Most High. You want to be giving glory to the Most High. Right. You want to be talking about parables and speaking of the Most High's word, man. Right. And in charity, you want to give to your brother and your sister. Right. And it's not always carnal things, man. It ain't always money. You want to give your time for your brother and sister. You want to spend time with them and give them this word too.
That's right.
Right? And in spirit and in faith and in purity, that means you want your people to see you and you want to be an example of being in the spirit, of being in the faith, having faith in the Most High, and being pure. That's what purity means. We all know we go off, right? But what makes us pure is Yahweh Shai and us being washed by this word. That's what makes us pure at the end of the day, right? Keep reading.
It says, till I come, give attention to reading, to exonerating.
No, give attendance.
Give attendance to reading, to
exhortation
to doctrine.
Right. So this is another way you show you an example. You're reading, right? You're looking at the doctrine, which is the law. Let's get that real quick. Give me Proverbs 4:7 real quick. Let's show what the doctrine is, right? Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7.
Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7.
Right?
Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom and with all.
That ain't what I want. No. Proverbs. Is it Proverbs 4, verse 7? Proverbs 4, verse 2. So 4 and 2.
Yeah, 4 and 2. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 2. For I give you good doctrine.
Right.
Forsake not my law.
Forsake ye not my law. Right. So the good doctrine is the laws, the statutes, the commandments, the things that the Most High has commanded for you to do. Right. So you want to give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. You want to give attendance to this law, these statutes, these commandments, to exhorting yourself and reading and paying attention to the things that the Lord has told you to do and studying, man. Sometimes you got to go into geography. Sometimes you got to go into the words and break down these words, man. Sometimes you got to go deeper. We was just talking about you got to go deeper than the surface level, man, to understand a lot of this word, man. All right? Keep reading now. Back on you.
Back on me.
Yeah,
it says, neglect not the gift that is in thee.
Right, so you don't want to neglect the gift that's in you, man. If you got a brother, this is how you should be an example. If you're a brother that there's a brother that gives, you don't want to be that brother and say, well, I usually give, but I ain't gonna give no more. Right? If you're a brother that's good at breakdowns, you want to say, oh well, I'm good at breakdowns, but I ain't gonna do no breakdowns no more, man. All right, you're a brother that's good at discernment and breaking and looking at the law and making decisions based on the Most High's law. You want to say, well, I ain't gonna help my brother out no more. You want to neglect not the gift that is within you, man.
That's right.
Don't do that, man. Don't neglect the gift that the Most High don't gave you, right? You got brothers that was in the world and was at the top of their class and had a 4.0 GPA, man. And they was going hard at school, but then when they get around to the Most High, they like, well, he can sort of wait. You know, I ain't got to really get too deep into that. No, man, if you got that gift to remember things, you want to remember righteous things, man. You don't want to neglect that gift and say, oh, I ain't going to remember these things no more. Right. Oh, man, come on now. Keep reading.
It says, which was given thee by prophets.
Prophecy.
With laying on the hands of the
Presbyterian. Right. Keep reading.
It says, meditate upon these things. Give thyself willingly to them.
Holy.
Give thyself wholly to them.
Right. So give yourself wholly to them. What does holy to them mean? You give yourself wholly to them, as in you give your whole self to this word. Right. You give yourself wholly, not partly. Like you got a pizza, you give yourself the whole pizza, not part of the pizza, but the full pizza, right? Keep reading.
It says that thy
profiting
may appear to all.
Right, that your profiting may appear to all. Right? What's the way your profiting going to appear to all? Is when you're being an example. That's the way your profit is going to appear to all, man. And they're going to look upon you, they're going to be like, okay, this brother, he's keeping the commandments. He's got the faith in the Most High. Right? He's changing from his worldly ways. Hey, a lot of people in their family, when they in this truth, they look at you and they think, yeah, this dude don't change, man. It appears to all, even if they don't believe in the Most High, they're like, damn, he keeping the commandments. He keeping the Sabbath. He talking about he got to go keep the new moon, and he don't kept the Passover last week. Hey, look, it appears to all when you give yourself wholly into this word. Give yourself wholly to the Most High.
That's right.
Even to those that don't believe it, they're going to be like, damn, okay, he pretty serious about that word, right? Keep reading up.
It says, and take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine.
Right, so you got to take heed to yourself and then take heed of this book It is doctrine and these laws and these statutes, and you got to match up yourself with this word, man. You want to say, well, am I doing that? Am I doing this? Can I do this better? Oh, all right, don't fix that. Can I fix this better? You got to be able to do it. You got to examine yourselves if you be in the faith, right? Keep reading.
It says, and continue in them.
And continue in this word, right? Keep reading.
It says, for doing this, thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear you.
Right, and that's how powerful it is to be an example. Because when you're being an example, you're speaking the word to your people, you're waking them up out of their sleep. Hey, look, you can save not only yourself, but your brethren. You can save your people that's been so deep down in this hole, deep down in this ditch. Hey, the Most High can have you raise them up. And you know it's all glory to the Most High.
Right.
You nothing but a vessel, but it's all giving all honor, glory, praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right? Because it's all of him to wake you up in the first place, man. Let me get this precept real quick. 1 Corinthians 9 and 14 real quick. Actually, you get me that. Give me 1 Corinthians. Let's sit on that. 1 Corinthians 9 and 14. First Corinthians 9 and 14. And you give me James 5 and 7. First Corinthians 9 and 14.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 14. It says, even so had the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel shall live of the gospel.
Right, so if you preach in this gospel, you got to live the gospel. What does that mean? You can't just read these words. You got to be in the walking example, right? You got to let your light shine before men, right? You got to be an example of the Most High's good works, man, and the mercy of the Most High, and the things that he can do for you if it be of his will for you to turn back to him. And that's a beautiful thing, man. But you got to be an example, man. You got a lot of brothers in this truth, a lot of sisters in this truth, a lot of people, they sitting there, they can quote scriptures to you all day, but when you walking around in their life, they don't have no fringes on. You know, they ain't really talking about the truth when you're around them, like we said in conversation, right? They don't really do nothing the Most High told them to do. You know, they hating their brothers on the low. Some brother do something to them, they can't forgive them. You know, they got all these different things and demons on them, right? So, hey, look, you got to live it. It's more than just reading a book. Hey, Christians read this book, right? A lot of people don't. Hey, you got a lot of scientists, theologists that read this book, man. What makes you different is that you live it. You're an example of it, right? And that's why the Most High told us in Hebrews that we surrounded with such a great a cloud of witnesses, man. What is those witnesses? Those witnesses are examples, right? Give me that in Hebrews. I believe that's 2. Hebrews 2 and 1. Might be 12 and 1. It might be 12. I think it's Hebrews 12. Yeah, Hebrews 12 and 1. We're going to get you to James 5 real quick after this. Bring it up.
This is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. It says, wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses.
Right, so when you see before, if you read Hebrews 11, it speaks about all our people and all the sacrifices that they made for the Most High, right? From Abraham even unto Yahushua, man, right? All the things they done, all the hell that they went through, all the trust that they had in the Most High, right? And it says, keep reading.
It says, let us lay aside every weight.
Right, because we see these many examples, we know that it can be done. You got a lot of people say, well, it can't be done keeping those laws. Well, we got a plenty of examples of people that did keep the laws of God, right? It said, let us lay aside every weight. Don't let nothing hold you down from this world. Don't let what someone told you hold you down from serving the Most High, right? Because we can pass with a lot of witnesses being examples. We got plenty of examples of people that put their faith in the Most High and trusted in the Most High and was found faithful and righteous in their deeds, right? Keep reading.
It says, and the sin which doeth so easily beset us.
Right.
Let us run with patience the race that is set before us.
Right. Let us run with patience that is set. Let us run with patience the race that is set before us, man. So we gotta run with patience. The race that's set before us. Understand? We got plenty of examples of people that finished this race, man. Right? That made it to the finish line, man. Right? So hey, look, you don't see them. Right? So you gotta lay aside every weight and trust in the Most High. We all gotta do better, man. We all gotta chip off at things that's bothering us, man. We always gotta chip off of these sins and demons and things that's holding us down, and truly turn to the Most High. Give me that James 5 and 7. Listen to me now.
James chapter 5, verse 7.
And so, like, you can read the whole Hebrews 11 to hear that whole account about all the Israelites that's been before us, all the examples that we have, right? For sake of time, I'm not going to read it, but read the whole Hebrews 11, right? And it tells you how many examples of people that we have that laid down their life for the Lord and truly had faith and trusted in him, man. And was examples to the flock, right? Because they were good sheep. They were righteous sheep, man. Right? And when I say good sheep, I mean righteous, because there's none good but the Father. But give me James 5 and 7.
James chapter 5, verse 7. Be patient, therefore, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husband waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth.
Yeah, the husbandman. Yeah, keep reading.
And has long patience for it until he receive the early and latter rain.
Right. It's just showing you how you should be patient for this fruit, this kingdom. You should be patient, waiting until the coming of the Most High. Right? Because it says, be patient until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waited for the precious fruit of the earth and have long patience for it until he received the early and latter rain, man. So you should wait and be patient for the Most High, because he's not going to slack, like it says, right? His promise is not going to slack. You know, it's sort of, you know, he's got it his own way he's going to have this happen, right? And you as a human man, you got to sort of deal with it. You as a man, you got to deal with the way the Lord don't set it up, right? Give verse 8.
Verse 8. Be you also patient, establish your heart.
Right, so you want to establish your heart. What does that mean? You want to get your mind right. Because once you have your mind right, your example is gonna be there, man. So the most important thing first is to get your mind right. Keep read.
For the coming of the Lord draws nigh.
Right, because we see the things happening. We see these prophecies coming to pass. We see these seals going into the fifth seal. All these things breaking loose. All hell breaking loose. We see these prophecies coming to pass. Keep read.
Verse 9. Grudge not one against another, brethren, unless you be
condemned.
Condemned it. Behold, the judge standeth before the door.
Right, because we're in the truth now. You shouldn't be holding grudges with your brothers, man. All that should be over with, man. Shouldn't be having a grudge in this truth. A lot of brothers that got grudges with people in this truth, man. And you think the Most High dealing with you, you can quote 1,000 precepts, but you still got a grudge with brothers, man. You know, you still sort of hate a lot of brothers, man. You think the Most High don't know that, man? You know, hey, look, you can play the game. Hey, but that's why the Lord say, oh, we're going to know who the real deal is, man. We're going to know. He said, then shall be known who my servants are, man, in those latter days, right? Because all the game is going to be over with, man. And it's going to be, hey, you're going to have winners and you're going to have losers.
That's right.
Right? Give me verse 10.
Verse 10. Take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering afflictions and of patience.
Right, so you see how the prophets, they were an example of suffering affliction, right? Going through hell, having patience and trusting in the Most High, man, right? These prophets, hey, they called upon the Lord. Hey, the Lord ain't always answer their prayer that day, man. Hey, even in, was it Daniel? The Lord said, hey, you got to fast some more before I can give you this next revelation, man, right? What's that Daniel? It was either Daniel or Esdras.
Daniel.
It was Daniel, yeah. Say, hey, you gotta fast some more.
It was Ezra.
Yeah, it was Ezra. I thought it was Ezra. So you gotta fast some more if I can give you this revelation, man.
14 days.
Yeah. So you see here that, hey, look, the Most High wasn't moving on your time, right? So you see here that they had to be patient for that, man. It's okay. I can't just try to go to witches or try to get somewhere around this to get this revelation. I'm gonna have to do this fast to get this revelation, man. So you got to be patient sometimes with the Most High, well, all the time with the Most High, right? And take all the prophets as an example, because your job is to be an example as being the servant of the Most High, right? You need to be an example of suffering, affliction, and patience. You know, some brothers get into this truth, some sisters get in this truth, and they let their family rule them, man. They let their family they can't suffer affliction. They get out of the truth because of their family. Oh, they didn't like me. I can't do it no more. I'm done. Hey, look, that's not an example, right? You're gonna have a lot of other people in the flock that's gonna take that and look at that, and they're gonna use that as an example for wickedness, man. All right, so you want to be an example for righteousness' sake, right? Keep reading up.
Verse 11. Behold, we count them happy which endure. You have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful,
right,
and of tender mercy.
Right. So the Lord he got a lot of mercy on you to forgive you. He's pitiful, right? So the Lord can have mercy on you, man. But you got a lot of brothers that's not moving to be an example, man. A lot of brothers on comment boards, a lot of sisters, a lot of people talking, and they ain't talking right. They saying they're Israelite, but they hating their brother. They backbiting on their brother, right? They talking junk about their brother. You got people talking junk about believing Israelites, man.
Exactly.
People in the truth, and you sitting there talking junk about them, saying about their household, what they like, and what's happening in them, and what they probably do. Hey, look, that's off as hell, man. And if you co-sign that, you off as hell. But you got a lot of people that ain't examples. You can read all day. You can know precepts all day. You can quote it all day. But until you're living it, until you're being that example, hey, look, hey, all that's for naught. All that reading you done is for naught if you're not living it. If you're not taking what you're learning and applying it to your life, hey, it's a waste of time. You know, brothers knowing 1,000 precepts and they don't do nothing that's in the Bible. Well, that was a nice read. That was a nice, good book to read. Hey, they read it 1,000 times. No, hey, they can read it. Hey, it'll be like the book of Eli and can read it back to you. But they don't do a damn thing that's in it. Not one thing that's in it, man. Right? So your job is to be an example. You think Yahweh was sitting about talking about their brothers, and when brothers was coming with questions, you think Yahweh was sitting about, oh man, that brother stupid with that stupid question. Brother, he dumb as hell. And brother, hey, look, that's not of the Most High, man. And if you've been deceived to think that's of the Lord, look, you got another thing coming for you, man.
Right.
You can think you're on the Most High side, but you're not being an example. You're not being an example. You're not leading the sheep in the right way, man. Right? And that's why you got so many breaks and so many faults and so many cuts in Israel, even in the truth, because you got a lot of people that know precepts, but they not having an example. They're not being an example, man. Right? They're not doing the things and letting the people see and letting that light shine among men to be able to see the works of the Most High. Right? Instead, they want to do their own thing. Instead, they want to get their own publicity. They want to get their own way. They want to be the Most High. They drawing followers after themselves. Hey, look, you got to be followers of us like we followers of the Most High. Right? We followers of Yahushua. Right? That's the way you got to be. But you got a lot of people that are not, those things aren't so. Right? You got to watch out for brethren like that. Right? You got to watch out for sisters like that talk the game but ain't living the example. Right? Give me that 1 Peter 2:21. Give me 1 Peter 2:21 now. One of y'all.
1 Peter 2:21.
Yeah. You want to? You want to? So both of y'all want.
Go ahead.
All right, bring it up.
Bring it out.
All right, this is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 21. It says, "For even hereunto were ye called, because Yahushua also suffered for us, leaving us an example
Right.
that ye shall follow his steps.
Right. So you gotta follow Yahushua's steps, man. Hey, this is what I tell every brother. Hey, look, if you think something else, hey, you see if Yahushua would do that, man. This is what you gotta ask yourself. If you think something's off, if you meditating on something, of course we gotta use these laws, but we gotta ask us a question: Would the Lord be doing that? Would Yahushua be doing that? That's what you gotta ask yourself, man, before you try to validate things in your mind as a human living on this fleshly earth, man.
Exactly.
Being a fleshly man.
Exactly.
You got to be spiritually minded and put Yahushua into the account. Hey, will Yahushua do this? That's a question you got to ask, right? Because he's an example. He's leaving us an example that we should follow his steps.
That's right.
I mean, that's being a follower of Christ. That's a Christian, right? The true Christians, ones who follow his steps. Right, this is the key point. This is a cut for a lot of Christians too. You could use the scripture, but they say they're Christians. They say they're followers of Christ. Give verse 22.
It says, who did sin?
No,
it's like it. Who did no sin?
Read that again.
Who did no sin?
So Yahushua did no sin, right? And we just read under that ye should follow his steps. So what does that mean? Why Yahushua said, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect"? That's because we gotta follow that. We got a perfect example, right? And we got the perfect breakdown on how we should live, right? So who did no sin? So a lot of Christians, they say they followers of Christ, but they say the laws are done away with. They don't have to keep certain laws. Hey, Christ did no sin if you're a Christian. Right. And you got to be a follower and following his steps, man. Who did no sin. Keep reading verse 22.
It says, neither was guile found in his mouth.
Neither was guile. Read it again.
Like, neither was guile found in his mouth.
Neither was guile found in his mouth. What is guile? What is guile? Let's get that real quick. 1 Peter 20:21. I'm going to go to the blue letter real quick because we need to go to that real quick. I would pull it up on the screen, but for sake of time, I'm just going to bring it out real quick. And the blue letter. Bear with me. Where's Peter 2? And before we get guile, I want to get an example real quick. In verse let's see where we at. Verse 21. Yeah. Verse 21. Let's get an example. What is the definition for example? Let's get this real quick, man. Bear with me. Pull it up. Bear with me, Israel. All right, 1 Peter 2:21. And we got example. Salakia, I'm on here now. Example. All right, and the word for it is, let's bring it out. All right, example. Word for it is hypogrammos in this text. And it says a writing copy, including all the letters of the alphabet, given as beginners as an aid in learning to draw them, an example set before them. Right, so you got an example. This is something that someone that's a beginner, they can aid in learning, right? They can grow in the spirit by looking at Yahushua. Another word for it is copy, for imitation, right? So you got someone you can imitate, man. What does an person that imitates does? When you watching people dance and they dancing in a group and they always moving at the same accordance. They all are on one accord, right? That's the way you got to be with Yahushua. That's the way you got to be. That's the way you got to, hey, that's your example. And you got to sort of copy it down to a T. You got to sort of learn to dance.
Be on the same beat.
Right. Be on the same beat. Right? So Khan, yeah, So let's give me Judith chapter 8 and 24.
Judith. Chapter 8.
Judith 8 and 24.
Judith 8 and 24. Right there.
Yeah, I like that.
Look at
Judith 8 and 24.
It's in the Apocrypha.
All right, here we go. Judith 8 and verse 24.
Right.
Now, therefore, O brethren, let us show an example to our brethren.
Right. So you want to show an example to your brethren. Right. Can you read?
Because their hearts depend upon us, and sanctuary,
In the sanctuary.
and the sanctuary, and the house, and the altar rest upon us.
Right. So you should feel this way about the house of Israel. You should feel like, hey, look, I got this knowledge. These things rest upon me. Right. As in, hey, look, you got a job to do. Right. You ain't just been given this wisdom and this knowledge and this understanding not to do anything with it, man. You got a job to do, and you got a burden to carry, man. Right? So, hey, look, you gotta look at your people. You gotta be an example for them, knowing that you got a burden to be their example. Right? If you don't, it's gonna be a problem with the Most High. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 25. Moreover, let us give thanks to the Lord our God, which
Triumph.
with triumph us, even he did our fathers.
Right? Even as he did our fathers. Keep reading.
Even did our fathers, even as he did our fathers. Verse 26. Remember what things he did to Abraham, and how he tried Isaac, and what happened to Jacob in
Mesopotamia
of Syria, when he kept the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother.
Right.
Verse 27. For he had not tried us in the fire as he did them.
Right.
For the examination of his hearts.
Right. For the examination of their hearts.
For an examination of his hearts. Of their hearts. Yeah. Neither has he taken vengeance on us, but the Lord does scourge them that come near unto him, to demolish them.
Right. So you got to understand, man. You got to go through this affliction, and you got plenty of examples of people going through the affliction, man. Right? So you want to be someone that understands that the Most High scourges you, right? And he sort of beat you up sometimes. He sort of give you a whooping every once in a while. And you got to deal with it, man. And you got to be an example when you get corrected by the Most High. You want to be an example of change. You want to be an example of repentance. You want to be an example of turning from your ways and going by what the Most High said. That's what you want to be an example of, man. And you want to lead your brother, and then you should feel like you got a burden on you, man. You should feel like you gotta do it, right? I know these brothers, when we go out to camp, we feel like we miss a camp. Hey, we feel like we gotta go to camp, man.
We gotta go.
It's something that just click, man.
Burn.
And we gotta go out there and feed the sheep, man. And most time they wake us up to just be sitting around and sort of, we're going about 5 months.
Can't be lukewarm.
Yeah, it's being lukewarm, man. You know, got all that knowledge, but then you sitting there just chilling with it. Give me Sirach 44 and 16, and you give me 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. And I want to go into an example. Yeah, 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter.
Sirach
44 and 16. And bring out that Sirach 44 and 16 real quick for y'all. Yeah, Enoch.
Okay. It's two different. All right.
Yeah.
This is Sirach chapter 44, verse 16. It says, Enoch pleased the Lord and was translated, being an example of repentance to all nations, to all generations.
Right. So Enoch, he pleased the Most High, right, and he was an example of repentance to all generations. Hey, they seen Enoch and said, "Damn, that can happen to me. I can be translated." So they went and did better works, man, because they seen what the Most High could do for you if you're moving in the right spirit, man. Right? The Most High can do with every. Hey, can you imagine being translated? Can you imagine someone that's living on this earth and they just disappear, being translated, and you can't really break that down and you can't understand that, and you see how much he trusted in the Most High? Hey, that show you how much the Most High can do for you when you believe in Him. When you please the, it says Enoch pleased the Lord and was translated, being an example of repentance to all generations. How was it an example of repentance? Because when people seen him and seen his relationship with the Most High and seen the things he said to do according to the Most High's will, hey, people that was like, oh shit, we gotta change, man. I want to serve that God, right? I don't want to serve myself. I don't want to do what I want to do. I want to serve that God, right? The same way you see a lot of brothers out here that was killers, murderers, robbers, stealing from people, but the worst of the worst, the bad of the bad, the slums of the slums. Hey, when you see one of the brothers that was like that was so deep in wickedness, and you see how they are today, serving the Most High, keeping His commandments, doing what the Lord commanded them to do, right? Having the faith, loving their brethren when they used to hate their brother. And a lot of people like, damn, I want to serve your God. I want to serve the God that did all that, right? Because that God is real. Because I remember what you used to be like.
That's right.
I remember the way you used to be, and it's crazy. It's astonished. Hey, you're astonished to see the person they are today because that's all of the Most High, and that's how you can be an example. When you're an example, people are like, damn, right? That's what you want someone to do in the truth. You want someone not to praise you as being a man, but to look at you and be like, look how much glory the Most High has. Look what He can do.
Right.
Right? Look at the power that He has. Right? Give me 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. And let's start at we ain't gonna start 2 Maccabees. You're not 1 Maccabees. We'll start at 6. I knew that in a little while. I was like, what? 2 Maccabees 6, and I'm gonna start at 18.
2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 18.
Now we're finna get an account of being an example. Right? 2 Maccabees 6 and 18. Bring it out.
Is it Eleazar?
Eleazar,
one of the principal scribes,
right?
An aged man of a well-favored countenance, which constrained it to open his mouth and eat swine flesh.
Right. So you got Eleazar, a principal scribe, right? And you had these heathen constrain him, right, to eat swine's flesh, right? What is that? They had him constrained to break the law, pretty much, right? Can you read?
Verse 19. But he chose rather to die glorious than to live stained it with such an abomination. Spit it forth. Yeah.
Right. So I want to get bear with me real quick.
And came on his own accord to the torment.
Right. So you got Eleazar right here. It says he chose rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination. He spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment. When it says came of his own accord to the torment, he said, look, do whatever you want me to do. I'm not breaking the laws of God. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 19.
20. You read? Oh, you already read? Oh, yeah, you're on 19. So like it.
Verse 19. But he chose rather to die glorious than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth, and came to his own according to the torment. Verse 20. It is behoove them to come.
Resolute.
Yeah. that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for the love of life, to be tasted.
Right.
Verse 21. But they that had the charge of that wicked feast, for old acquaintance they had with the man.
Right. So you can see here, hey, before we get into that, the Lord called it a wicked feast.
Mm-hmm.
If you eating these abominations, it's a wicked feast, man. You can say, oh, we serving the Lord on Christmas. We get that ham, cut it up with that pineapple. Let me get a little bit of that pine. You can do all that you want to. Hey, the Lord called it a wicked feast, man. Right? Because you eating your Thanksgiving, they wicked. Right? And we got breakdowns on that, the origins of Thanksgiving, the origin of Christmas. Hey, on the surface level, it's wicked, period, because you got those abominations in it, man.
Mm.
Right? Keep reading.
Okay, verse 21. But they had that charge of which a wicked feast. Okay, had with the man
for the old acquaintance. You skipped the part.
Yeah.
For the old acquaintance.
Yeah, for the old acquaintance that he had with the man, taking him aside, brought him to the bringing flesh of his own provision. Right.
So
provision.
Hey, one of the wicked men, he took him to the side, and said, "Hey, look, we're gonna take this man aside, and we're gonna hey, you can bring your flesh of your own provision, right? You can bring your flesh of your own whatever you want." Mm-hmm. Brew Warrior, hey brothers, where y'all been? Salakia brothers, we just now getting our videos back up. We got videos coming. They just in editing with the coronavirus and stuff. There's just been, it ain't been too many real good videos to show Israel. But we're gonna definitely got some coming, and we definitely gonna stay with the Flaming Fire Friday Sabbath classes. If it be in the most, I will. But Shalom and Salakia for that, brother. Keep reading.
Okay, provision such as was lawful for him to use.
Right. So they took him and they said, "Look, hey, you can get some lawful. It can be lawful, right?" So basically, they told him, "Hey, look, you can go get some chicken or something. You go get. We don't know what the count what it actually was, right? Beef, right? Turkey, something. Hey, and you can say it's pork. You don't even have to break the law. That's what these devils came to him with. They said, hey, go get some flesh of your own provision, whatever you want to get, right?" Keep read.
Verse. All right, provision, right?
Yeah.
Such as was lawful for him to use and make as if he did eat of the flesh.
Right. So they want him to. This is how wicked Esau is, and this is how wicked these other nations is, man. They say, hey, look, you ain't gotta break the law, right? We we gonna get whatever flesh you want and just make it seem like you ate pork. It's okay. Just make it seem like you eat pork, right? Just so the people can see that you ate pork. Just so the people can say, oh, well, we can eat whatever we want to eat, right? But you see here that we're gonna see exactly what he's gonna say. But it says they wanted him to make as if he did eat of the flesh. So technically, he wouldn't even been breaking the Levitical law. Right, but he's gonna show you how he would have been breaking the law. Right, this is how you got wise men. He was a principal scribe. He's gonna show you how it would have been off. Keep reading up.
Okay, taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king, verse 22, that in so doing he might be delivered from death.
Hey, they said, hey, look, bro, you can get whatever meat you want. Just act like it's pork, and we won't kill you, right? A lot of Jakes would have probably took that offer, man. I'm telling you. But this is how strong he was in the spirit and how much he knew how he had to be an example for the people. Keep reading.
All right. Okay. 22. This in so doing that he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship which them find favor.
Right.
23. But he began to consider discreetly.
Right. So he sort of started thinking, man. Mm-hmm. Right. Keep reading.
And because his age and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray hair.
Gray head.
Yeah, gray head. Sorry. Whether into he was come, and his most honesty education for a child.
Right. So when it says honest education, it ain't talking about this brother went to a damn got 2 degrees in Esau school, man. What it's saying is he was raised up in the law. He was raised, when it says education, he was raised up in understanding the word of the Most High, which would explain why he's a principal scribe, right? Can you read? And his children and his parents taught him of the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. Keep reading now.
And his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and gave by God.
Right. So this was his education. The holy law gave by the Most High. Right. Can you read?
Therefore answer accordingly, and willed them straightways to send him to the grave.
Well, he said, "What the hell with that? I'm not eating of some flesh and let my people see that I'm eating this and they thinking it's pork." And he said, "The hell with that, man." He said, "Hey, send me to the grave." Right? Keep reading.
For it becometh not our age.
Right. So when it says it becometh not our age, he said he's an elder. He's an older man. He knows better. Right? You know, you get a young Jake in that situation, he might take it. Right? He might say, "Well, technically I ain't breaking no law. Yeah, I eat it." Right? But that goes back to how you got to be an example. Keep reading.
Said he in a wise to dissemble, whereby many young person might think of that Eleazar being 80 years old and 10,
right, 90,
were now gone to a strange religion.
Right, so they'd be like, so he thought this is how Israel should be, and this is how you should think, how people perceive what you're saying, perceive how people you should think about how people perceive what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. So he said, "Look, hey, I could do that, but I would leave a stain on my old age, man. And I have all Israel. Hey, I'm an elder. I have half of Israel thinking you can eat pork now, man. Half of Israel thinking, oh, we can break the laws of God. You seen Eleazar break he the principal scribe. And if he ate the pork, we can eat the pork, right?" Keep reading.
25. And so they thought my hypocrisy.
No, read that again. And so they threw
my hypocrisy and desire to live a little time.
Right, because he already 90 years old. He said, "Look, I'm 90 years old. I'm not going to do that and leave a stain on my old age, knowing the Most High going to see me just to live a little bit longer." Mm-hmm. Right? Keep reading.
"In a moment longer shall be deceived by me, and I get a stain to my old age and make it a bumper."
And this is how this shows you how much Israel thought of their name. They cared a lot about their name.
Exactly.
They cared a lot about how they was perceived within the people. And the scriptures tell you to have a good name, man, and to be blameless, man. Mm-hmm. And that's the way you should be. When you blameless, you be an example to the people, right? Keep reading.
Verse 26. For the present time I shall be delivered from the punishment of men. So
he said, "Hey, I can get away from this right now. The present time I can be delivered from this. I'll be good." Hey, he told me all I gotta do is eat some flesh, that fish or chicken or any lawful meat, and just act like it's pork. Right? Can you read?
"Yet shall I not escape the hands of the Almighty. Yet shall I not escape the hands of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead."
So he said he knew he wouldn't escape the hands of the Most High, right? He knew that the Most High was watching him, and he knew how bad of a thing that was, man, right? And that he had to be an example to the flock. He had to love his brother, man. And this is an example. This shows you an example of something that you got to have wisdom for, right? This shows you an example of having wisdom and knowledge and understanding, right? Because when you got wisdom and knowledge and understanding, you understand the way the Most High wants you to be. You ain't gonna find no law in there that says, "Oh, if thou has something that looks like pork, thou shalt not eat of it. It's not in there, right? It's nowhere in there. But that's how you show your wisdom. That's how you show your knowledge. That's how you show your understanding, because you know that you would lead your people to wickedness. In the scriptures, a wise man would say, well, I gotta love my brother as myself, right? But I want my family to continue to think that's okay for me to eat pork, right? You wouldn't be selfish, because you gotta understand you gotta be an example. It says, hey brother, what's so interesting is a lot of pastors, if not all that teach on the streets or in the temple, go to college and still teach lies, right? Because this ain't given to everyone, brother Brew Warrior, right? It ain't given to everyone, right? Not many. Give me that James 4 real quick, right? Not many mighty are called to this. Not James 4. I'm tripping. Give me 1 Corinthians, right? Yeah, 1 Corinthians real quick.
1 Corinthians.
Yeah, 1 and 26.
1:26.
All right, 1 and 26. Bring it out.
All right. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 26. It says, for ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh.
Right, so not many wise men after the flesh. When it says after the flesh, it's meaning wise men after this world, right? Wise men after the ways of this world, right? Let's say after the flesh, the things of this world, right? Going to college. Not many wise men in this world. Keep read.
It says, and not many mighty, not many noble are called.
And not many noble are called, man. So that's saying right there, a lot of people that's looked up in the society is, they tell you got to go to high school and go to college and serve the Most High. Well, not serve. They sure don't tell you to serve the Most High. We got to go to high school and college and, you sort of get a job and you make it. Hey, that's esteemed highly in the society, man. But to the Most High, look, he said, not many of them mighty people are called, man. Right? If you want these people with 2 or 3 degrees, you got a theology degree. Hey, you got a lot of these Christians that went to school to be a pastor, man. And when the Lord said, thou shalt go to school to become a pastor, man. Hey, you got to learn of this word, man. This knowledge and this understanding, man. You got to be taught of this word by elders, by people in this truth. And of them, hey, forget all that, of the Most High, man. That's the main thing, right? So not many people that's high esteemed in this world are called, man. That's why you got them. They don't went to school for a lot of years, but they just can't get this basic understanding. It's simple to us to understand that we Israelites. Simple to us to understand we not Gentiles and we got to keep the commandments and the laws and statutes. We got to turn back to our Father, have the faith in the Mashiach Yahushua. It's simple to us. It's like bread and butter, but to them, it's not given to them, man. That's why they say, what? Sabbath? What? Why y'all out there keeping that? I got stuff to do this Saturday. But hey, they might have the most degrees ever, man. And they say they believe in Christ, man. And they believe in God. And they love God, man. We don't love a God is keeping the commandments, 1 John 5 and 3. Right? And they sort of get stuck on that one, man. Right? Keep reading.
It says, but God had chosen the foolish things out of the world.
But God has chosen the foolish things, right?
Of the world.
He chose the hey, look, we fools, man. Hey, people, I'm telling. Hey, and we fools for Christ. You better know that.
Right.
It says the Most High chosen the fullest things of this world. People see us. They say we're keeping the commandments. They see us with headbands on and we got mitris on, fringes on. And they look at us. People, they see us at the bottom of the bottom. Negroes, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. They see us like we are, and they like, hey, they some fools, man. The foolish thing. We ain't got no degrees here, man. Some of us got degrees, but I sure as hell don't. Hey, I got a degree in waking up my people that the Most High blessed me with, man.
That's right.
Right? So that's what the Most High blessed me with. Right, Keep read?
It says, to confound the wise.
Right, so we got, it's glory, all glory be to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is that we got the Most High, he rose us up from the dirt, right? And we can confound these people that's on high. We can confound the wise, these mighty men, these people that's at the top in this world, right? That think they have understanding. Professors that believe in different philosophies and doctrines that they've convinced in themselves, even though they say it's a theory that is fact. Right? Can you read?
It says, and God had chosen the weak things of the world.
Right, because we weak in this world, man. We at the bottom. We don't have no social economic foundation to do anything, man. We don't have no rulership in this society, man. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough power to do the things that the so-called white man can do and all these other nations can do, right? And it's a purpose that, hey, it's purposely been like that, man. Right? Keep read.
It says, I've chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty.
Right, so the Lord has chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty, brother. So that's why you see a lot of people that's sitting around, going to school their whole life, but they can't even, take this little baby food that we giving them, man. They're like, oh man, they spewing it out of their mouth, man. Right? So let's go back to that First Maccabees story. First Maccabees 6:27 and 27, right?
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 27. Chapter 7, verse 27.
6 and 27, he's right.
6 and 27. Wherefore, now manfully changing this life, I will show myself such as one as my age requires.
Right, so he said, look, I'm an elder and I'm going to show myself to be an elder, right? I'm not going to make no weak, he ain't going to be no coon. He ain't going to sell out to his people, man, for no damn chance at living a couple more years, right? Keep read.
And leave a noble example to such as be younger to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy law.
And I love this story right here, man. It says, and leave a notable example. That's the way you got to be. You leave a notable example, right? To such as be young, these people and it's not even talking about always small people, kids. Anyone that's young in the faith, small in the faith, someone that's young in the spirit, they just came into the truth, right? To die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. You gotta be willing to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws, man. That means you gotta be willing to die for this word, man. You gotta be willing to die rather than break the commandments of God. A lot of brothers got those lots in the end times, man. A lot of brothers, they're gonna be forced with keeping the laws of God or breaking the laws of God, man. Right? And a lot of them, they're gonna be spewed out in those days, man. They're gonna be, they ain't gonna make it, man. Just that simple, right? Because they're gonna give out to this world because they weren't built up enough. And ultimately, the predestination of the Most High to choose them to be built up enough in these end times, man. Right? Keep reading.
All right.
And when? Verse 28.
Yeah, verse 28. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment.
Right.
29. They that led him to changing the good will they bear him a little before into hatred, because the foresaid speeches proceeded as they taught from a desperate mind. Verse 30. But when he was ready to die,
I love the scripture. You gotta be ready to die for the Most High, man. And it ain't just words. It ain't just talk. Hey, in deed and in truth, you gotta be ready to die for this, man. And if you're not ready to die for this, hey, look, it ain't for you, right? It ain't for you. You gonna fall if you ain't got that faith. And some brothers come in weak at first and they end up mighty and strong. You gotta be building towards that point, man. When you ready to die, because if you ain't ready to die, you gonna fall, man. If you're not building no strong foundation, hey, the whole wall gonna crumble down as soon as a little wind blows on it, man. As soon as a little water touch it, man. Right? So you got to be ready for those afflictions. You got to be ready for those sufferings, because we just read, we got the examples from the prophets, the servants of the Most High, right? And you got to continue this example, man, right? It's your duty, your reasonable service of the Most High to go ahead and give you, put your bread in, put your weight in, and say, look, this is my time to lead my example, right? Now I gotta lead my example. Now I gotta be part of this suffering. I gotta be part of these things that our ancestors went through, right? Keep reading now.
Verse 30. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifested unto the Lord that has the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in body by being beaten, but in soul I'm well content to suffer these things, because I fear him.
And that's a key thing. You got to be well content to suffer whatever you got to suffer through, because you fear the Most High. You can't fear men more than the Most High. That's the break. You got to fear the Most High, number one, right? And you can't fear men. You can't fear no one else, man. Fear him and him only, man, right? And hey, look, you're going to be strong like this brother Eleazar in the end, man. Hey, you might get put to death, but you're going to be resurrected, man. And you're going to get that your body changed. You're going to get the kingdom, man. Because you're worthy of it. Because you went through the suffering, Salakia. You went through the hell. You part of this, right? Keep reading.
Verse 31. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example.
And then what?
Leaving his death for an example of noble courage.
His death was an example of a noble courage, right? Like a king, he was so courageous. A noble, a hot. A lot of people ain't got that, man. A lot of people, when you put that fire to them, they sort of start melting, right? Keep read.
And verse 31. For an example of noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation.
Right, so he died leaving an example, a memorial. What is a memorial? They're going to always remember, right? They're going to keep that in their memory. You know how many brothers that was built up in the spirit when they see him die like that? You know what that could do for people, right? You know how much that could boost their faith and boost their belief in the Most High when they see someone ready to die for the laws of God, right? And that's how much you got to be an example. You got to, it might not always be that, right? But it's going to be other things also, man. That's right. You're going to have any time where you're going to have to be an example. People going to be talking. People going to be saying things. And you're going to have to stand up and be the bad guy, man. Hey, you're going to have to stand up and say something's wrong. It might be a bunch of Israelites, man. You might just stand up and say, no, that's off, man. I don't care what you say. I don't care who you is. I don't care how many followers you got, how many people that's around you, or how many hey, look, I'm a servant of God, and him only do I serve, and him only do I fear, and that's off as hell, man. Hey, and that might be your battle right there. You might not go through this being put to death for swine's flesh like he did, man. But you might have a smaller battle on a smaller level, man, where you got to be an example to the flock. Because if you're not an example to the flock in that situation, you will have a lot of brothers saying, well, I'm just going to follow this brother, man. We're just going to hear what he got to say. Hey, you got to say, look, that's off, man. According to Leviticus, the 19th chapter, First Ezra, the 13th chapter. Hey, you got to break it down, man. Right? And you got to be willing to tell them when stuff is off. When our forefathers, and that's not according to the will of the Most High, and not according to our forefathers, man. And when I say our forefathers, our righteous forefathers, because they didn't do those things, man. That's what a true servant of the Most High has to do. Sometimes you got to be the bad guy, man. Sometimes you got to stand up for the Most High. Hey, sometimes you got to rise up, man. Sometimes you got to be a notable example. Though you might be hated, though people might do something to you, though you might be, they might talk junk about you or say things about you. You got to be a notable example to the flock.
Stand for the word, man.
That's right. So Khan, give me 1 Peter 5 and 2. All right, we're gonna get a couple more precepts.
This is 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 2.
Right.
It says, "Feed the flock of God which is among you."
Right. So we got to feed the flock of God. What's the flock? The Israelites. Can you read?
It says, "Taking the oversight thereof."
Right. So you got to take the oversight thereof. You know, when people they watching the flock, they watching after them, man. They making sure wolves don't get into them and kill them. They making sure they well protected, right? And they standing up for the sheep, man. That's the way you gotta be. Sometimes you gotta stand up for the sheep. You gotta take oversight of the flock of God, right? That's your duty, man. Right? So you gotta watch what you say and you gotta watch what you do because you want to be a righteous example of the things holy to the Most High, man. That's what you want to be, right? Keep reading.
It says, "Not by
Constraint,
but willingly."
right? So this is the point. Someone shouldn't have to tie you down to feed the flock of God, right? Someone shouldn't have to tie you down for you to care about your people and have the oversight thereof, man. Right? You got to do it not by constraint, but willingly. You should want to take the oversight of your people. You should want to care about them and lead them in the right way, man. You should want to counsel with them and build them up the same way you've been built up, man. Right? You might never know. You might build up a little bit more. Right? Keep reading.
It says not for what's it for? Right here.
It's neither.
Not for.
Neither.
Neither has been.
Not right here.
You on this one. Not for filthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lucre.
Okay, filthy lucre, but of a ready mind.
Right. So not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Because you got a lot of people that saying they feeding God, but they're not doing it sincerely for the Most High. You know, they doing it for money. They're doing it for other things, fame. They're doing it for other things. And they're not sincerely caring about the flock of God, man.
Right.
They're letting the flock of God say whatever they want to, do whatever they want to. You know, they sort of acting like they're in the world. Mm-hmm. That's off, man.
Where?
Keep reading.
It says, "Neither as being lords over God's heritage."
Right, because you got a lot of people that they want to be lords over God's heritage. They want to be a ruler, right? You got a lot of people say, "Oh, look, hey, if you ain't with our camp, and you don't believe exactly the way we believe and everything, you God's not with you, man. You ain't in the truth, right?" A lot of people that say that, man. Hey, they think they lords over God. Hey, if you're not dealing with me, if you're not dealing with the top God, which is me, it's not of God. You forget about it, man. No matter how many fringes you get, man. This what they'll say, man. That's wicked as hell because they want to be lords over God's heritage, man. Right? You got a lot of brothers that start off like that, then they get into the filthy lucre sake, and then they start being lords over God's heritage, man. Right? Keep read.
It says, "But being examples to the flock."
But what?
But being examples to the flock.
You want to be an example to the flock, right? Be an example to the flock, man. Live the gospel, right? Do what the scriptures say, and you won't have no problem, right? Use wisdom, use knowledge. Watch your words. We did videos on watch what you speak. We did it a couple weeks ago, right? Don't just start saying anything. Hey, look, you got a flock behind you, man.
That's right.
You gotta watch what you feed to the flock, man. You feed them the wrong thing, they gonna all die, man. You go out there and try to feed some flocks, some damn. You go out there to the sheep. Go out there to a sheep and try to feed them some damn some Tylenol, man. Giving them a bunch of damn Tylenol pills and stuff, man. And all them sheep, they gonna give up the ghost, man. They gonna have their legs up like this, and they gonna die because you went out there and tried to feed them some damn headache pills, man. Ain't no sheep. They need living waters, man.
That's right.
Right? They need green grass, right? They need things that can sustain them, man. Right? They don't need no poison, right? So you don't want to be giving the flock of God poison, man. You want to watch over the flock, right? You don't just feed the flock anything, man. So come on, give me 1 Corinthians 4 and well, actually, give me 1 Corinthians 11 and 1. And give me Philippians 3 and 17. Bring it on.
All right, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1. It says, "Be ye followers of me, even as also am I of Christ."
Read that again now.
It says, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ."
Right, so you want to be a follower, right, of Christ, man. That's what Paul didn't say. And it's another thing. Christians, they think, hey, you got to be a follower of Paul, man. Hey, did Paul die for you on the cross? No, right? You got to be a follower of Hamashiach Yahushua, right? And Hamashiach Yahushua, he's the word. He said, oh, all those things they written of me, man. Hey, this whole book is of Yahushua, man. This whole thing is the word of God, right? So not only do you have a living example, but you got this word as an example too. It's twofold, right? And you got the spirit as an example. It's threefold, man. Right? Get that Philippians 3 and 17.
Philippians chapter 3, verse 17. Brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which walk so as you have us for an example.
Right. And so you want to mark brothers, man. That's a key thing, man. You got a lot of people in this truth. You know, they go, anyone that say how about Shemi Yahushua, anyone that can break down a couple precepts. Mm-hmm. You want to mark brothers, man. Right? And you want to mark brothers that are being an example. Because anyone can learn, well, not anyone, but a lot of people can learn precepts, man. It ain't that hard to learn precepts, right? Especially if you apply yourself to it. But not everyone can be a living example, man. All right, that's why you got a lot of people that get in some of these camps and they see these people that they'll quote thousands of precepts, but they're not living an example. Even if the Pharisees, you remember Hamashiach Yahushua told them, do as they say, but not as they do, man. So you had the Pharisees, they were talking the talk, right? They were saying, oh man, keep those laws, keep those statutes, commandments, but they weren't being an example to the flock, right?
No mercy.
Exactly. Come on. Give me John 8 and 12.
John chapter 8 and verse 12.
All right, we got one more precept. Give me Matthew 5.
They spake to Yahushua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life.
Right. So this is showing you that Yahushua is an example of that light. Right. So when you walk in that light, you're gonna have that light. Right. We know Proverbs 6 and 23. We just reading that. The light of the light is the law, right? And the law is the lamp. I mean, Salaki, the commandment is the lamp and the law is light, right? So these things, this shows you that Yahushua, he kept them perfectly. So he emits that light, man, right? Because he's a walking example of the laws, the statutes, and the commandments, and the son of being the Most High God, man, right? So when you walk in his light, you're gonna emit that light also, man, right? You're gonna be the example also, because you're using him as an example, and you're thenceforth becoming that example. Henceforth becoming that example, right? When you're walking after his steps, when you walk up behind that beam of light, and it's sort of going through you too, right? Get Matthew 5, and this is gonna be the end. This is gonna be the last precept.
All right, this is Matthew chapter 5, verse 1.
14.
All right, it says, Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. It says, ye are the light of the world.
Right.
A city that is set on the hill cannot be hid.
Right, so you're the light of the world. How you that light? Because you're walking in the ways of Yahushua. You're walking in the ways of these laws, statutes, commandments. You're not talking about it, not only talking about it, but walking it, living it, being an example. Right? Can you read?
It says, neither do men light a candle, but it says, and put it under a bushel,
Right?
but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
Right. So you don't want to just get that knowledge and wisdom and don't be an example, right? And another thing is, you don't want to just get that wisdom, understanding, and don't live it, and don't bring out the truth, and don't wake up your brothers, and don't go out there and tell them about it, right? You want to be an example, man, right? So you don't get this knowledge and wisdom and hide it, right? You want to admit the light, the spirit of the Most High God, man. You want to be out there. You want people to look upon you and see the works of God, right? And see how good Yahweh is, the God that we serve, the one and only, right? That sent his only begotten son Yahweh Shah to die for our sins, right? Can you read?
It says, let your light so shine before men,
right?
That they may see your good works,
right?
And glorify your Father which is in heaven.
Right. So this glorifies the Most High when you're being an example. It glorifies the Most High to for people to see your good works, and it all glorifies the Most High, man. Right? That's why it says, let your light so shine before men, because you're walking in the path of the righteous. You're walking in the path of Yahweh Shah himself, man. Right? And you want to continue on that path, man. You want to continue with your candlestick lit up, man, on fire, man. Right? Because the moment it start going out, you got a problem, man. Right? You got to correct that. You got to add fuel to it, or hey, you don't want it to go out, man. Right? So you want to continue to be an example to the flock. You want to continue to be an example. You want to continue to let your light shine. You want to continue to serve the Most High in truth and sincerity, man. Hopefully, brothers and sisters was edified. We're back with another Flaming Fire Friday / New Moon / Sabbath class, whatever you want to call it. Right, we back, and we, hopefully, brothers and sisters was edified, got understanding, got wisdom from it, learned something they didn't know before, got an extra precept, right, got an extra highlight, whatever it is. Right, they learned a little something, man. But we're gonna end off giving, of course, all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Happy New Moon. Until next time, Lord willing. Shalom.
Shalom.